Hello, my name is Matthias Kavodik. Welcome guys to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Uncanny X-Men issues 278 to 279 and X Factor issue 69. They're all part of the Muir Island Saga. Pretty awesome story, at least for me. They bring a lot of nostalgic way. These are literally the first issues of X-Men I ever read when I was a kid. And this issue in particular, I remember the first time I went to a comic book store close to my house. It was like 5 blocks away. I lived in Culver City in California, and I went to buy 3 packs of Marvel Series 1. I was really into those trading cards. I had already started collecting comic books too, but I wanted those trading cards. And I entered, and I remember seeing this comic book on the wall, on the back wall where they had all the big sellers. And I was like really drawn into, I knew who Rogue was. I had no idea who was the super buff guy, obviously a strong guy. Now I know. And I chose the cards, but I was like, totally broken inside. It's like, oh man, I wanted that comic book. So I did extra chores that week. And I went back a couple of days later. I got this issue and I started reading my first X-Men story. And I remember thinking, this is really confusing. I was like, I jumped right into the middle of this really awesome story. Again, it's really good. It's really worth reading, but there was a lot going on prior to this. So let's get into the story itself. So we have Xavier. He came back from space, like the X-Men were doing every once in a while. Like if you're not familiar with the X-Men, they go out and have adventures in space. They deal with the Shi'ar or the Skrulls. Not so much with the Kree. I don't remember the X-Men crossing paths with the Kree, but with the Brood too. Now the X-Men have come back to Earth. Chris Claremont really took his time to build up Shadow King as a villain. He was really awesome. He's like the ultimate antagonist to Xavier. So he's been taking advantage that the X-Men have not been around. There's sort of been like a void there. And he's starting to feed off all of across the globe, people's hate and anxiety. And so everyone's really on edge, and a lot of Latin conflicts around the world. Not sure if that's the proper term in English. I'm not sure if I'm translating directly from English, but we have conflicts that are sort of bubbling up all across the globe, and Shadow King's sort of instigating them and also feeding off them at the same time. So Xavier sort of once he returns to Earth, he's sort of aware of the situation. Obviously, he's Xavier and vast mental powers. So back on Earth, first thing he does, he goes steal back the Blackbird. It's sort of funny because during the past week, I read 3 or 4 stories at least where we have some X-team stealing back the Blackbird. That's something that happened a lot for some reason. We cut to Muir. She's on Muir Island. She's also being affected by the Shadow King and his activities. And she's created this safe haven for mutants. So she has a lot of the Morlocks that survived the mutant massacre are there. A lot of ex-member of the X-Men or characters that are related to the X-Men, they're also all there. And since, again, she was influenced by the Shadow King, she's holding these death battles between mutants. So we get this battle that, talking about this really reminds me of during the Hickman era, the Crucible, that whole battle for depowered mutants to get the powers back. But that aside, well, that's for another video. But here we have Rogue having this super intense battle against Strong Guy, and Rogue sort of loses herself within the battle. She almost kills almost kills Strong Guy with one last blow. Again, this is all Shadow King's doing. So we cut back to Xavier. He's got his task force of X-Men, which I love these training costumes that they use during this particular time, the yellow and blue. Aesthetically, it looks so awesome. So on this lineup that I remember, this is the lineup that I saw in Marvel Series 1. You had Storm with her short hair, Psylocke, Banshee, Gambit, Wolverine, Jubilee, Forge. Forge was a super important character during Chris Claremont's time. Here we see Rogue back on Muir Island, falling under the control of the Shadow King. So this task force are going to go to Muir Island, and they're going to try to liberate all their fellow mutants from the control of the Shadow King. So once they get to the island, they start getting picked off by the mutants that are already there, the ones under Shadow King's control. So we have Banshees taken down by Siren, Gambit's defeated by Multiple Man. Wolverine seems to get his ass kicked by Rogue. Jubilee gets defeated by Day Tripper, Amanda Sefton. She's like Nightcrawler's old girlfriend. And immediately what Shadow King does is he sends Colossus, who for a real long time he was like sort of missing in action. After he entered the siege, he had become this artist. He was working, I think, in New York City or something like that. He falls under the control of the Shadow King. Shadow King sends Colossus after him. We get a pretty awesome battle where it's actually not a battle. It's Xavier and Stevie Hunter trying not to get killed by Colossus. Xavier sets a trap and uses his, obviously, his vast mental and psionic powers to liberate Colossus from Shadow King's control. So the whole task force that he sent to Muir Island are all now, not only have they been captured, they're all under Shadow King's control. Shadow King, just for the fun of it, pits everyone like in this ongoing battle amongst themselves for some reason. So the only one that has not fallen under this control is Forge. Forge, using his crazy inventing and technology powers, he creates these little mind things that he sticks on people's foreheads and blocks Shadow Kings from their control. So he's like liberating one mutant at a time. We cut to X Factor 69. This one is actually written by Fabian Nicieza and Willis Portacio. Wow, I really love Willis's art. Like his work on X Factor looks so cool. So obviously Xavier is he lost his team. He goes to X Factor, goes back to his old students, tries to get them recruited and say, hey guys, look, we have to deal with this whole situation with the Shadow King. Obviously X Factor's on board, and the rest of the story we're going to cover in another video. So Muir Island Saga, really awesome. It just really brings back the memories. This was the first story that I ever read of the X-Men. Like, I remember the first X-Men comic book I ever had actually was from the Inferno, but I only had one issue from that. I got on board here. So this was the ground floor for me, and I was really awesome. If you haven't read the Muir Island Saga, read it. It's really worth it. So see you guys next time. Bye.